으로 or 로 has a lot of different meanings. Toward, by, and with or out of, I think, are the three most common, but you'll see several more translations as you get further in your studies. Today we're going to focus on the meaning of by. But let's first take a look at the types of contexts where you'll commonly see 로. You don't need to memorize these other meanings, just be aware that there are many other contexts where you will see 로. If you've been studying Korean for a bit, these are the three you might have come across already. In the context of toward, you'll see a sentence like, I walk toward the school. 학교로 means toward the school, and just like in English, toward the school is fairly interchangeable with to the school, 학교에. When used in the context of by, this isn't like I'm by the park. This is referring to the mode that you use to do something. So you'll see a sentence like, I go to school by car, or I came by train. This is the form that we'll focus on today, so let's quickly take a look at the last common situation, with or out of. Here you'll see sentences like, the building is made of brick. I made it out of paper, or I write with a pencil. In both of these contexts here, you can see how 로 designates the mode or means or methods that you use to do something. You go somewhere by car, you build something out of brick, you write with a pencil. Again, don't worry about these other translations of 로 because we're only going to focus on by plus a mode of transportation today. In order to say any of these following phrases, we first need to know how to say each mode of transportation. Car, you may remember as 차. 차. Bus is very similar to English, 버스. 버스. An above-ground train is 기차. 기차. And this 차 in 기차 is the same meaning as 차 for car. 기 comes from the Chinese character for steam or vapor. So train basically means steam car. 기차. Taxi is also very similar to English. 택시. 택시. And plane or airplane is 비행기. 비행기. 자, 따라해 보세요. 차. 버스. 기차. 택시. 비행기. Okay, which one is 기차? 기차. How about 차? 차. 비행기. 비행기. And how do you say bus in Korean? 버스. How about taxi? 택시. Car? 차. Train. 기차. And airplane. Here's a hint. 비행기. So if we want to say the phrase by car in a sentence like, I go to school by car, we're going to start with the word car. 차. And then for by, we'll add either 로 or 으로. If a word ends with a vowel, we'll add 로, and if a word ends with a consonant, we'll add 으로. So for 차, we'll attach which one? 차로. 차로. Okay, how do you think you'd say by bus? 버스로. By train? 기차로. By taxi? 택시로. By plane? 비행기로. Wow, what are the odds that they all end with a vowel? Now for on foot or by walking, we won't literally say by foot in Korean. The most natural way to say a sentence like, I go to school on foot, would be to say, I walk and go to school. So to translate on foot, we'll say walk and. The word for walk in Korean is 걷다. But rather than saying 걷고 for walk and, we'll use the phrase 걸어서. 걷다 is an irregular, so when you conjugate it into present tense, it's not 걷어요, it's actually 걸어요. Without going into too much detail about a grammar that we haven't learned yet, a verb in its a or all form plus 서 is another way to say and. We'll cover 서 in a video very soon, but for today, you'll just have to memorize the phrase on foot as 걸어서. 걸어서. 자, 따라해보세요. 차로, 버스로, 기차로, 택시로, 비행기로, 걸어서. Let's go ahead and finally make some sentences. The two most common verbs that you'll probably use with these terms are 가다, to go, and 오다, to come. Let's start with present tense and let's make the sentence, I go by car, which will be, I, by car, go. What do you think? 저는 차로 가요. 저는 차로 가요. How about I come by car? 저는 차로 와요. 저는 차로 와요. I go by bus. 저는 버스로 가요. I go by train. 저는 기차로 가요. I come by train. 저는 기차로 와요. Now with 오다 especially, I think it's most common to hear this as the past or future tense. So let's do I came by train. 저는 기차로 왔어요. I came by plane. 저는 비행기로 왔어요. I came on foot. 저는 걸어서 왔어요. I went on foot. 저는 걸어서 갔어요. Okay, lastly, let's try some longer sentences with places. Let's go back to present tense and make the sentence, I go to school by car. In this kind of sentence, as long as the verb is last, the order of each phrase doesn't really matter. Just like how in English we can say either, I go to school by car, or I go by car to school. You're free to try either one, but I'll be giving the answer for this order right here. I, by car, to school, go. So, what do you think? 저는 차로 학교에 가요. Let's try I go by bus to school. 저는 버스로 학교에 가요. Okay, here are our 6 prepositional phrases and 4 locations. 집, 학교, 도서관, and 카페. Can you make the sentence? I go by bus to school. 저는 버스로 학교에 가요. 저는 차로 도서관에 가요. 저는 기차로 카페에 가요. 저는 택시로 집에 가요. 저는 걸어서 도서관에 가요. 저는 비행기로 카페에 가요. Wow, you took a 비행기 to a cafe? You're a real 부자. And finally today, 3 sentences with no help. I go to school by train. 저는 기차로 학교에 가요. I go to the library by bus. 저는 버스로 도서관에 가요. And I go home by car. 저는 차로 집에 가요. Good! Now just a quick side note before you go, but this side note is really only for you if you are already familiar with this grammar or you're closer to intermediate level in Korean. If you're a very beginner, get out of here! Or feel free to just watch and then forget everything I say. Do you remember when I said the most natural way to say I go on foot would be to say I walk and go? 저는 걸어서 가요. Well, that phrasing is actually the more common way to say each of these sentences. Rather than I go by car, it's more common to say I ride a car and go. 저는 차를 타고 가요. I go by bus or I ride a bus and go. 저는 버스를 타고 가요. I ride a train and go. I ride a taxi and go. I ride a plane and go. 저는 기차를 타고 가요. 택시를 타고 가요. 비행기를 타고 가요. But it's still perfectly natural to use 로. And I think it's an easy grammar for beginners to use until you feel more comfortable using a longer phrase like this one. It's kind of like in English if someone asked, "How did you get here?" You could answer either, "I took the bus," or "I came by bus." I took the bus is probably a little more common, but I came by bus is still perfectly fine, so I thought I'd at least introduce 로 in this lesson. Again, if you're a beginner, I told you to get out of here. But if you are still here, don't worry about this subtle difference and use 로 all you want. However, if you're a little more advanced, maybe go ahead and try out 타고 가요 next time you go somewhere. Okay, now good. For real this time. Here are all of the words that we practiced within this lesson, and they'll also be in the description box below. Great job today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. 다음에 또 봐요.